this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to do one of my 3-card series, a simple stamping to artistically avid. And let's get started. And I'm going to be using the Sending Smiles stamp set and the coordinating dies, which are the sending dies. I'm also going to bring in this rectangle here, which is from the Stitch Rectangles. It's the second from the largest. Okay, so let's get started here. This is the first card, the simple stamping card. Okay, so I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white, a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of the Simply Marbelous Designer Series paper that we got in Celebration, a 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 piece of thick cardstock, which I scored and folded at 4 1/4. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this Designer Series paper to the front of my card base. Here's my card base is a little bit too wide. I forget to check that sometimes. I'll just bring in my every once in a while they're just a hair too big. Just so you're aware, this is not Stampin' Up paper that I'm using for my base. Okay. Put that aside. Let's bring in this piece here. And the only inks I'm using is Garden Green and Highland Heather and Memento. Okay, so let's start with this piece here on the Garden Green. Ink this up. Over here, I'm going to stamp it once, pick it up, and I'm going to turn it like this, except I don't want this leaf on that side, so I'm going to my rag is kind of gross, but I'm just going to wipe that stem of that leaf off. I'm going to put that one over here. Okay, then I'm going to stamp one over here, a little bit farther, and I'm going to wipe this off because I'm going to curve this just a little bit going the other direction. Not quite that much, but so I get a little bit of a different angle on it. Go ahead and stamp that. Okay, now I'm going to bring in this one and ink it. And see how that's kind of messy there? So I'm going to take this at full strength, stamp it, then I'm going to move, stamp it again. And you could even stamp a 3rd generation. I'm going to do some more over here, stamp it, stamp it again. Okay, so that fills out that bottom area so it doesn't look like just stems floating in midair. Okay, I'm done with the green. Actually, I think I want a little bit more over here. Let's add one more over there. There we go. Okay. Now let's bring in the Highland Heather. We'll stamp those heather flowers. They kind of look like lavenders, but the stems don't look like lavenders, but it's alright, they're fun. Just line it up with that little stem. Awesome. Now you'll notice this one, I put mine a little bit closer together. Probably kind of like that better, but this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to bring in the tuxedo black and the sending. I've got two stamps stuck on here, but I'm just going to use the sending part. Now, if you're not able to get a really good impression, I would use the Stamparatus. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sending over here. Alright. And then I'm going to bring in a note of thanks. I forgot to mount that one, so let's find that one. That one. And I'm going to bring in the Highland Heather ink again. And I'm going to stamp that down here underneath. Okay, perfect. Now that's going to get mounted on the front of my card. Let's close this ink in case my cat decides to get up here. I'm going to go ahead and mount this to the front of the card. It's just going to be like a 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch difference, because this paper is a 1/4 inch smaller than the front of the card. There we go. That's my first card, the simple stamping card. This one we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. I like them both. They're very pretty. Okay. So now let's go to the next card. I did use different color for my, oh, it's not good. Different color for my paper. This time I used a pool party, and I have my card base, 4.5 by 5.5 inch piece of simply marbelous designer series paper. I have a piece of pool party, which is cut out from from the largest stitched rectangle, and actually this was a scrap in my package that was left over from another project, from a card class that I had done that I had extras. And then I have a 3 inch by 4 1/8 inch piece of white, and then a scrap of white to stamp my sentiments on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is stamp this piece. It's 3 by 4 1/8. We're going to do it very similarly to the way we did the other one. So I'm going to ink up the leaf. I'm going to start over here. I want the center one to be taller. Oops, I got an edge there. Let's turn it over. Okay, one here. Again, you could turn that stamp so that it has different angles. Okay, then I'm going to come in with this one. I'm going to fill that all in. Okay, so I filled in that bottom area. Now I'm going to come in with the Highland Heather ink. Put those flowers on. Okay. And I'm going to come in with the scrap paper and the Memento black ink. I'm going to stamp the sending. And then I'm going to stamp this other sentiment. This says sunshine to brighten your day. I've got them mounted back to back, but okay. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. See if that's going to fit. That is going to fit on there. Good. And I need the dies. These are both out of that same die set that bundles with the stamp set. I should have stamped that down just a hair or more, but I think it'll work. I'm not sure that top edge is going to cut because it looks like it's hanging off, but we'll try it. Excuse me. Oh, that worked fine. Okay. Okay, now let's assemble this card. I'm going to take the Simply Marvelous DSP 4.5 by 5.5 inches, mount that to the front of my card. Okay, then I'm going to mount this piece that we stamped to the stitch rectangle, and again that's the second from the largest. You could have cut the next size down. out of the white. That would have been pretty too. Flip this over. We're going to add dimensionals. Packings off. We're going to mount that down towards this bottom, so it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch from the side and the bottom that are the same. Okay, then we're going to flip over these. We're going to bring the little dimensionals. I just had them here. Where'd they go? There they are. I'm going to add some of these little dimensionals. Take the backings off of those. I didn't miss that one. Okay, that's going to go across here. Like that. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this one. Now this end where the day is, we're going to have to double that one up because it's already popped here, so I need to double up that dimensional. If I can get the backing off. So this one will double up. Just stack them on top of each other. Okay, so this is going to go right here. There you go, there's card number 2. Could add a little bow maybe, but okay. Card number 3 is a fun fold. It's a little tricky getting it closed, but so let's go through what you need for that. My card base is 5.5 by 8.5. It's Pacific Point. And I scored it at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8, and that made a perfect score. If you're more comfortable, just score the one side and then fold this side over to meet it and crease it. But I scored it at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8, and that's how I got that fold. Okay. I have a piece of white, which is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. That's for the inside. I have 4 pieces of the Simply Marbelous Designer Series paper, and that is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. I have 3 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 3 3/4 inches, and that's the Pacific Point, and that's to make these panels. And to layer onto those panels, I have 3 pieces which are 1 1/4 by 3 1/2 inches. And then I have some scraps to stamp my sentiments on. Okay, so let's start by adhering these 4 Designer Series paper pieces on. And again, they're 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're going going to put one on each one of these little flaps. If you want to keep them so that the pattern's flowing, that would be fine, but I don't know if it's necessary because it's got the panels over the top, so it doesn't appear to be an issue. Okay, there you go. Oh, that one was a coincidence. They did match. Now we're going to put two on the inside. Okay, so that'll be that. Now let's do our stamping. Let's do the inside first. And we're just going to take the garden green, put it up here so it's out of the way. Can you see it? I hope so. Okay, I'm just going to stamp one flower here. I'll come in with that other green. Okay, then come in with the Highland Heather and the flower part of it. Okay, we can attach this right to the inside of our card. I don't always do the inside of my card, but this one kind of called for it. Okay, so there's that part. Right, now let's do these three pieces. And these are 1 1/4 by 3.5 inches. And so one's going to get curved this way. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to fill up this bottom half of the there. And then the Highland Heather. So that's that panel. Let's do this panel here. I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. Try to curve it the other direction. Excuse me. Okay. You can angle it just by angling the stamp as well. We're going to fill up the bottom of that one. Okay, add our flower. Okay, so this one's going to get 3 of them on it. So we're going to stamp the one in the middle. We're going to use that same technique where we wipe off the leaf. Left a little halo, but that's fine. Now we'll stamp another one right there. And the reason that works is because we're making the bottom with all the different colors, so it just works. Okay. Okay, let's do the flowers. Alright, now we can assemble this card. Oh, we've got to do the sentiment. Okay. Maybe I'll do it that way this time. Okay, so the sentiment sending. Go in this piece. I'm too close to the top. I want that D to cut out well. It has to kind of get angled. This piece might be too small. Okay, and then the sentiment on this smaller one here. The other sentiment. Alright, that's all the stamping, so we can put the inks away. Alright, let's bring our die cutting machine back in. Oops. Helps if you put it the right way, doesn't it? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm fiddling with this. I should have done this previous. Alright, let's go ahead and send this through. There's that. And there's that. Okay, put this die away so I don't lose it. Alright. Now let's assemble this last card. Alright. So we're going to mount these pieces onto these 1 1/2 by 3 3/4 inch pieces of Pacific Point. Okay, I think I'll do these ones with them flowing out this time. Although, I don't know. That's how I intended it. We'll see. We'll try it this way. Okay, so we're going to bring in our card. And these single ones are the outside ones. They're only going to get glued on the bottom half. So we're going to figure out where we want it. Flip it over. I only want glue on that bottom. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. And I'm going to that down on that corner. And actually, I think I put these on dimensionals, but we're going to just do it with glue this one because I forgot that. So just the bottom here. Make sure they're the same height across. Okay, then this top one, we're going to just put glue on the top half. Center that up between them. Okay, then we're going to bring the sending in. We're just going to put some dimensionals on the back. And actually, since I've got this messed up, I'm going to cut another one and glue it on the back. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I just cut another one without stamping on it, so we can hide this and make this a little bit stiffer. Okay. Then in the center, like on the N and the D, I'm going to put some mini dimensionals. Take those backs off. Come on. Okay. I'm going to close this and I'm going to lay this down. The N, the D, and the I are going to be adhered to this center panel. It's not getting adhered anywhere else. And then this sentiment, I'll put just a few dimensionals on the back of the center of it. Okay, and then this one is going to get put down here. There you go. Here's our third card. So there's the 3 cards that we made today. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.